Hello and welcome again, one more time to the greatest show of all time, Unfiltered. And today my guest is somebody that I think everybody wants to hear from, and very soon you know why. First of all, let me say I'm quite honored. It is also my bragging rights to say that my show here was the first show this man is coming to after a very major press conference. That was his latest press conference. And after that, I had so many questions. But guess what? He says, I'm going to be on your show. You know, ask me anything you want. And you know this show is Unfiltered. So he's here. And trust me, he has a lot to say. And we have a lot to ask. Put your hands together. Show some love for my small brother, Kissi Agyebeng. Pardon me calling you my small brother. When you get to my age,
I know. I've always admired you even during my secondary school days.
Oh, you see.
And I'm sure I'm not any older than your son.
No.
See?
Then my oldest son is even older than you. So, anyway, Kissi Agyebeng, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure to host you right after that major press conference. So let me go straight into it, Mr. Agyebeng. Or should I call you Kissi? Or should I call you my son? Kissi.
My father is still alive. So.
Your father said, let me go straight into it, Kissi. What bothers me, and I know many other Ghanaians, and trust me, I relate to Ghanaians so much, and I didn't tell them you were coming, otherwise they would have given me a list of questions to ask you. So knowing them and how they analyze things, my first question I'm going to ask you, I mean, how cool is it with you and the AG? Because from where I sit, it doesn't look like it's altogether quite right. You know, for the AG to come up with, we hear a letter you wrote to the Chief of Staff. And the Chief of Staff read the letter and said, this is not my domain. Let me send this to the AG. He's in charge of this. You know, then the AG response and all of that was pretty in my mind. But why would Mr. Kissi Agyebeng write to the Chief of Staff? Why not straight to the AG and then take it from there? That's the first part I want you to.
Right. Mr.
Yes, sir.
There's really no issue.
There's no issue?
Absolutely no issue. It was an extradition request, and the extradition request is carried out by the government. And the government central authority for extradition is the Attorney General. Mm-hmm. So we are talking about the same government.
But I couldn't have written to him directly?
I just wanted the government to be aware that this is what we were doing. So it was transmitted from me to the Chief of Staff, from the Chief of Staff to the Attorney General in just 2 days. So there was nothing untoward about it. I mean, it goes in the natural course of things. That's why I preface it by saying there's absolutely no issue. No issue at all.
I was thinking, and explain to me, maybe I'm totally wrong, that you could have said straight to him. Why not straight to him? Why did you have to go through the Chief of Staff?
That's the government. Yes, because, you know, once again, I at the risk of sounding repetitive, there is no issue at all. Yes. I mean, I could have gone straight to the Attorney General. I could have gone through the Chief of Staff that transmitted to the Attorney General. I chose to go through the Chief of Staff that transmitted to the Central Authority. It was going to end up with the Attorney General anyway. So it's not as if the Attorney General was going to be kept in the dark, since the Attorney General is the Central Authority under our mutual legal assistance regime with our foreign partners. So definitely that Attorney General is going to be the baton carrier in respect of this matter.
Okay.
So that there's absolutely no issue.
Okay. What brought about this whole question of is that an issue was when I think it was the Deputy Attorney General also came up and said something to the effect that he also doesn't understand that whole thing because they have been waiting for a so-called docket from you that is not coming to create the impression that You are the one supposed to be sending some docket that hasn't come, and they've been asking you for months.
Mr. Ofori is the subject of a number of criminal investigations, right? I think the one that is popular is the one that the OSP is conducting. And also, that is the one that we are made to believe is in an advanced stage where extradition will be required. And indeed, the OSP has already put the person on red alerts, Interpol red alerts. What it means is that it's a notice to the whole world that this person is a wanted man. But the Interpol alert is not an extradition, procedure. So if we really want the person to come, we need to make an extradition request to where we believe he is, which is the US. Now, this is what's, and listen to me carefully on this. We are the only authority, that's the Attorney General Office, we are the only authority that can make extradition. But we need a docket from, an investigative docket from the OSP to be able to make this extradition request. As of today, we still do not have a docket from the OSP. We have made several requests to the OSP, written letters, written demands to the OSP, asking that now that you've announced to the world that you are ready to have this person extradited, and there have been communication to that effect that even we've seen communication to the effect that the docket is ready and it's only the Attorney General that can make the. So we have been asking for the docket for a couple of, I think about 2 months now. We still do not have the dockets from the OSP. And so without the docket, you cannot go to the American authorities and say, this is the person we want him. No, you need to show. So that's what's creating the impression.
I like the way you put it. But then I know BI. No one had done anything in respect of the Attorney General's office and the office of the Special Prosecutor. There's no untoward behavior. Is it? Once again, there was no issue. We asked for the extradition of the person. It's the case of the OSP. And you know the OSP is independent of any other institution when it comes to investigation and prosecution. So we kickstarted it. So, Mr. Mind you, if that OSP was the central authority in respect of extradition matters, it won't go through the Attorney General. See, so the Attorney General
it goes to him because everything has to go through the Attorney General.
Because the Attorney General is a central authority in respect of the mutual legal assistance arrangement. So it's not as if there was some wrongdoing on the part of the Attorney General or some wrongdoing on the part of the OSP. It was just much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
Much ado
the
about
impression
nothing
was created that, well, if documents have been submitted, there would not have been any need even to write to the Chief of Staff.
No, it wasn't they writing to the Chief of Staff. As I said, I commenced the extradition process through the Chief of Staff. The very next day, the Chief of Staff transmitted my request to the central authority, the Attorney General, and then a little over a week later, the Attorney General contacted us that the extradition request had been transmitted to the office, and so we could kickstart the entire process. And he requested for one or two things.
Yes.
So once again, let me make this point clear: there is no wrongdoing on the part of any of these two institutions. So that the impression that was being created in the circle, as if someone had gone to sleep, someone was delaying the process or that. It was an unfortunate impression.
Very unfortunate, because there was this mention made of that the Attorney General has said, don't worry, whatever you are working with, whatever state it is in, you bring it together with two of your investigators so that we work together and move it ahead.
There are two steps to that. We backtrack a bit.
Okay.
The first request was in the nature of I'm forming a prosecution team. I mean, unfortunately, a higher level communication was put on Facebook, so it's already in the public domain, so we can talk about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone in. So, two requests. One, give me two of your members for prosecution team, and then second was give me a docket. Right, That letter came in on the 13th of June. Our request had gone in on the 2nd of June through the Chief of Staff. So when that request came, I immediately responded, and I gave the two officers who were to join the team. Okay. And our understanding was that they were going to look at the extradition packet to see what remained to be done, so that it could go to the country. We believe that the subject of the extradition request was in. So on the second request, once again, as the letter is out there, our point was simple. If you're looking for the docket, then you should hold on a bit, because the docket has not been boarded up yet. And there's a very good reason for that. You would recall that 3 days prior to the Attorney General's letter coming to us, we had, together with National Security, gone into 2 offices of the company in respect of the main case. There are 4 cases, but that was the main case. And so we had taken so many items from that office, from those 2 offices with court warrants. And you had, apart from paper documents, you also had servers, computer servers, and then computer hard drives. Now, someone is sitting by the computer, switch it on, he says, I don't know how to switch on the computer. We had to carry all these things out. And that was just 3 days before the Attorney General's request came. So my response was that, see, we wanted to validate evidence that we already had, now locally and also from our foreign partners. And the validation of that evidence required that we go into those servers and hard drives. So when we took them on the 10th of June, I think, we were now opening these electronic items up when the Attorney General's letter came in on the 13th. So my response was, it's not been boarded up. We've just gone for a trove of evidence. So hold on. Let's examine that, and then we'll get back to you. And that is why I drafted it back to what I said initially, that there was absolutely no issue at all. And there's no wrongdoing on our part, no wrongdoing on the part of the Attorney General. It was that hurricane of impression that was being created that someone was delaying. Then it became a bit of a blame laying. It was in some circles it was Attorney General delaying the case, and then in some circle it was the OSP delaying the case. So, properly speaking, the 2 institutions should have just come together and said, there's no issue. We only have one shot at this, and you don't have to go back, forth. Zamisa, I said on Thursday last, during our latest press conference, that even some of the validation we required for some of the evidence we had way back in the first quarter of the year came last week, Monday, from our foreign partners. So you have these documents. You have intercepted these documents both paper-wise and electronically. But you need some validation. See, so for instance, if you sent an email through Yahoo, we need some validation from Yahoo that those emails were actually sent through the Yahoo database, and not just that we went to copy it somewhere and made it look like an email from Mr. Misa to Kissi. We needed all those validations.
And you got all of them?
Well, it came on Monday. A validation for those kind of those pieces of evidence came last week Monday, exactly a week ago. So we've opened that one up to pairing the validation from all these electronic companies around the world, together with this email, this WhatsApp message, this mail that was sent here through Google, this and that. You get it. It is painstaking work. And so if you're going to insist on a docket, you would have to wait for us to go through that painstaking work. But we are not sitting down waiting for everything before we move. Now, let me make this clear. As for the evidence, before we commence this investigation fully, we already had it by way of preliminary investigations. In respect of this particular matter, the 4 cases against the subject of the extradition, as I said, this is the main. Second is National Cathedral that also counts, because the sums involved in this first one is much more mind-boggling than the one involving National Cathedral, and that's why I say that one is main. So, with that, we started the investigation in December 2023 when we got the petition from 3 journalists from the 4th Estate. So, with our preliminary investigation, by the end of December, we already had a clear path where we were going. We had the evidence already. But we needed more, because what the petitioners brought us was an investigative journalist piece. Excellent. But to do corruption-related criminal investigation, you have to go 10 times more than what the investigative journalists have done. Because now you're going to go to court in respect of criminal charges. You don't go with just narratives and documents. As I said, you need to validate things. And so, by the ending of December 2023, the president then has stepped in and appointed KPMG. So what we said by way of public announcement was that we were going to put a little break on our investigation to wait for the KPMG report. It was parallel, going on at the same time. By the time KPMG started its work, we had already finished our preliminary investigation. So sometime in March, when the report was sent to the president, it confirmed to us that we were not on a wild goose chase. We were actually on to something, and that what we had at the time was good to go. But there were still pressing questions being raised by KPMG, which we also had, because those questions were really sitting on our minds. Then secondly, which is more important, KPMG made some conclusions which startled us. No, our preliminary investigation wasn't showing what they were saying. It was the reverse of what they were saying. So then, by the mandate reposed in me under the OSP regime as special prosecutor, I authorized full investigation. So we have been on this since December 23.
Yeah. Quickly. So that was based on the fact that the KPMG report you didn't think was as correct. Why did you need to reinvestigate their conclusions?
It was an audit report.
Okay.
As a criminal investigation of corruption and corruption-related matters. What an auditor will look for is not necessarily what a prosecutor will look for. Especially in the case of the special prosecutor, what you're looking for is far beyond what an auditor is looking for. But when you come to conclusions that you are attributing this amount of revenue to this person's participation in a certain sector, in this case, revenue assurance. But our preliminary investigation is showing us that no. What you're seeing is trend analysis. Trend analysis of there are now many more vehicles. The fuel demand will go up. There are now many more people than your benchmarked year. There are now many more liftings as a result of many more oil companies. There are now many more depots as a result of more people coming into the business. There are now much more taxes. There's now much more regulation in the system. Regulation by the GRA itself, and then regulation by National Petroleum Authority. So these trend analysis, of course, will lead to an increase in volume liftings. But when you attribute it to that company's participation in the setup, that is where we had a major disagreement. We said, no, it couldn't be. Because our preliminary investigation was showing something else. They were looking east and we were looking west. And so it firmed my conviction as special prosecutor that I should authorize a full investigation. And indeed, when we went in, we noticed that those volumetric increases could not be attributed to that company's participation in the revenue generation setup. So see where we started from, all the way till after the KPMG report. Then after KPMG report, we went for a full investigation. We've been doing this the whole of 2024. So we started December 23. By the ending of 2024, we knew what we were sitting on, what we had. That is why in January, we started then inviting primary suspects in, because we do investigation to a certain extent before we start calling in people, before we start arresting people. So the preliminary investigation stage by law is conducted in such a way as to, as little as possible, intrude in people's lives. That is what the law requires me as special prosecutor to hold my officers to, that do not intrude too much into the lives of private persons, public officials, and corporate entities during the preliminary stage. So at that stage, we don't go arresting people. We are quietly looking and questioning people. Sometimes we go to a locality. Sometimes we go to the sector, if it is economics based, and then we'll be doing our quiet investigation. So when you hear us talking, when you hear us come to the public that we're doing this, that, it means we already sitting good. We're already sitting good. And with that investigation, we only started calling in people from 2025, January 2025, after a whole year of verifying what KPMG has said, of going to depot to check what was being done by way of metering and volumetric liftings, combing through the entire custom system in respect of transaction audit and external price verification, as to satisfy ourselves that, oh, indeed, this contract is wow. It is really good for the public. It is worth our while. And so after we went through all this exercise for almost a year, because we need to see the trend. Before this entity came in, what was the trend? Now, if things are going up, is it just attributable to it? Is it necessary? Or there's something else accounting for that? You need experts. Experts who are not even OSP staff. I mean, my staff, I doff my hat off to them in respect of this investigation. They overdid themselves. But beyond them, you need experts in the field. You need tax experts. You need those who are well versed in classification of customable items. You need experts based in external price verification. You need experts in downstream petroleum measurement audit. You need experts in upstream. You need experts in the mineral sector. It was a conflagration of so many disciplines coming together in respect of this investigation. So when we took that 1 year to patiently study and investigate this case, by January 2025, we were upgoing. That's when we started calling people in. And that's when we then noticed that the main perpetrator from our standpoint, the main perpetrator had no intention of returning back to the country. Of course, he had left the country earlier in the year during the transition. Mm-hmm. Now we should place this in proper context, because we've attracted some flag that why did we allow him to go? Mr. Misa, he left before 7 January. Between 1st, I know the exact date, but I'm not going to mention it. All I'm saying is between 1st and 6th January, he had left. Who was in power during those few days? And we don't control the airports. We don't control the exit. The OSP doesn't control the exit points. But we are taking flag day in and day out. Why did we allow him to
so
go?
So in a nutshell, in a nutshell, that the person we are talking about, who is Ken Ofori, left the country when people who had the power to have prevented it saw it happen and didn't do anything?
No, let me put it this way. His cousin was president. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
Before John Dramani Mahama was sworn in on 7 January, Nana Akufo-Addo was the president.
Yeah.
That was his cousin. He had kept him in the office for more than 7 years. Now, who was controlling the airports? The office of the special prosecutor, who was controlling all these exit points. He had left a very curious letter to the incoming chief of staff. That we had seen. And it sounded benign. Because he said, oh, the letter was actually inviting trouble, if I'll put it that way. He made it seem as if he was so open to accountability that anytime he was wanted, he would just show up. So it was a very friendly, jovial letter, if you put it where he wrote to the incoming chief of staff. He said, I'm stepping out for a little medical checkup.
And if you need me, I'll be back.
If you need me, I'll be riding. So when we saw that, once again, we were not the ones controlling the exits. And then when we intercepted that letter and we saw it, was like, okay, maybe he is open to accountability. So let's see. So when power changed hands, and then we started calling, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the 3rd week of January that we sought to bring him in. And then things went all right.
Can we conclude then that somehow he left under the watch of the NDC and...
No, he didn't. Let me put the dates very carefully. You see, this is very crucial. I said between 1st and 6th January, he was
1st
already
and 6th,
gone.
okay. My mistake.
He was already gone. I said, when he left, the president was Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
At the time he left.
So at the time he left,
in a proper historical context.
Okay.
And
at the time he left,
and I'm saying that
Muhammad had not been sworn in yet.
No, he had not.
Okay.
And I'm saying that at the time we couldn't have blocked him.
Okay.
We couldn't.
Why? Why not?
Oh, I think I've thrown a lot of innuendos around for you to come to that conclusion. I said his cousin was the president. We were not controlling the ports of exit and entry. And even then, we were not getting the cooperation at the time from other security agencies.
You weren't getting any cooperation?
No, we're not.
You had asked for them?
Oh, we asked for all that, but we were not. It was as if there was a policy of block the OSP out. That was what we were facing, and that was the circumstances under which we were being expected to perform. I think I've complained about these things over time, but we were on our own. It was only the police and the military that did well to still show us up in respect of our work. National security, nope. At the time, the situation is different now. National Signals Bureau, nope. At the time, the situation is different now. National Intelligence Bureau, 0. At the time, the situation is different now. I mean, the security setup was stacked up against the OSP, so we will not be able to perform our job. This was the situation in which we found ourselves. And I'm being asked how I let Ken Ofori through this.
Yeah, but it's amazing what you're telling me now, because that's the basic complaint that's out there. You watch him leave and you made it easy for him to...
No, we didn't watch him leave. We were powerless. That is the truth. We were powerless. We saw him leave, but we couldn't prevent him from leaving at the airport because we couldn't. Now we can rely on the Ghana Immigration Service to block someone. Now we can rely on national security.
Before then you couldn't.
To block someone. Then, at the time he left, you call up immigration, no one will even bother to respond to you. You write to immigration, no one will even bother to respond to you. And I'm saying this unabashedly. That was the situation we found ourselves in. Once again, the OSP doesn't have a presence at the airport. The OSP doesn't control the airports and other points of exit and entry. So we rely on these other institutions, national security, Ghana Immigration Service. They control the airports and the other points of exit and entry. Without them, we cannot enforce our own orders in respect of travel stop. When a situation is such that they have put on this or created this situation of non-cooperation with us at the time, it just wasn't going to work. And I'm sure you've heard since January till now that so many people have been blocked by the OSP trying to get out of the country this year alone. We've blocked at least 10 people from going. They are picked up sometimes at the door of aircraft because our orders are pending still there. This is the beauty when public institutions work together. It is a joy to see and feel that the person who is manning the gate for all of us would uphold and enforce your order that this person is needed, this person shouldn't be allowed to go. And you can rely on institutions like that. And I applaud them. The institutions have turned around. National Security is cooperating with us excellently. National Signals Bureau, I thank the head there. He's been wonderful. National Intelligence Bureau, just super. Ghana Immigration Service.
But before then,
zero was a zero-sum game. Was a zero-sum game. We couldn't do anything.
So now that you have that kind of collaboration going on and the linkages have changed, what can you do? And the bottom line is, so when can you bring Ken back from that's the main thing that people ask.
See, if he was living in Agyebeng,
you have brought him back.
If it was no, this is just a joke.
I know.
If he was living in Agyebeng, I would have had him.
But he's in the States.
We believe he is in the States. And we've always believed that he was there. Indeed, before we put him on the Interpol Red Notice, we know he left the States on one or two occasions. But we believe he's in the States. And we know the area in which he lives. The person lives in the United States. Kissi Agyebeng, Office of the Special Prosecutor, even the Ghana Army. We can't just go into the US, spring him up and bring him. That is what Ghanaians need to understand.
Yeah, and
we are going through a certain very tedious extradition process to bring him back.
I remember in the last press conference, you had stated that when the FBI or US wanted Ghanaians taking to them, the extradition wasn't. We cooperated and let them go.
No, but in context, in this proper context, Mr. Misa, the journalist was asking me, what if
he becomes a citizen?
He becomes a citizen of the US, and I said, it should be complementary. Since we give them our citizens,
maybe they should
also be able to give us their citizens if it is clear that we really need them for criminal investigation.
Yeah, and that to many was like you couldn't commit to it. I guess maybe we are wrong, but we wanted some.
That's why I said. That's why I was joking about it. That if he lived in Agyebeng, I would have. He'll be with us as we are speaking. But since he is in a foreign country, I cannot put a date on it. And even then, the central authority in respect of extradition matters in the US could decide one thing. The President of the United States can step on it and block it and say no. You get it? So far as he is in the United States of America, we cannot put a date on it that we are bringing him today, we are bringing him tomorrow. That would be
and what people are afraid to hear, maybe that's the truth, is that we have no control. We just have to rely on whatever. But it's like you can't talk with certainty when it comes to his extradition.
Anyone who talks with certainty that in extradition process you are going to get the person at all, or certainly doesn't know what he's about. You cannot. You cannot. It's like fixing a price for upstream canoeing when you've never been in a canoe before. You don't know the muscles it takes to. I'm trying to quote Shakespeare here. You don't know the muscles it takes to do that, and you are just fixing the price in the blind. The decision is not yours. Let me give you a practical example. If you're a lawyer, and I've been a lawyer since 2003, if you're a lawyer and a client comes to you and you tell your client, I'm going to win this case for you, you're a sham of a lawyer. You do not know what you're about. You do not know what you're doing. You know why? Because you are not the judge. You are not the decision maker.
So what do you tell your client? I'll do my best.
I'll do my best. I'll put in my best. And that is our promise to Ghanaians. We are leaving no stone unturned. I said Thursday last at the press conference that we have just one shot at this. And if you have just one bullet in the gun, and
you don't aim properly.
You don't just go trying to shoot. You just aim, because one shot, if you miss, you've missed. But we are putting in everything and we're doing our best. We will not relent on this matter. And the recent history should speak for us. I related a bit of it on Thursday. I said, see, we declared him wanted in January. No other institution. We put him on our list of wanted persons. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a few minutes ago, I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori Atta. Mr. Misa, you were here in the country. We attracted negative flack that we were going after a sickly person, that the person was so sick to the point of death that we do not have the milk of human kindness in us. And how are we going after such a sick...
It's a prostate cancer patient that you're going after.
We're going after. How cruel is the OSP that we will do this? You remember? Yampaba. We were still liaising with him and his lawyers in respect of what they were trying to tell us. At some point, we relaxed and removed his name from the list of wanted persons. When the representation the lawyers gave to us was that, on this date, between this and that date, he's going to go through a surgical procedure. And by this time, he would have recovered. And we said, fine. In the ordinary circumstances of mankind, if the surgery is successful, which we pray it will be, no one wishes anyone evil.
Yeah.
He should take even a few more days. So we added, I think, 14 days to it.
To recover.
Days. And when we did that, those who throw negative flack at us, they came back and said, look at them. They don't even know what they are doing. Today they said they've put him on the list of wanted persons. Tomorrow they then change their minds. They just talk too much. Then when the date he himself had indicated came to pass, we gave it a little bit more time to see maybe you are having travel difficulties. Then we put him back on the list of wanted persons. Then we also attracted negative flack. Hey, the person is sick to the point of death. Why are you people so mean and wicked and all that? But we stood our grounds because our intelligence was solid on what we were doing. Because we were following him around in the US. We knew exactly where he was. And we could tell his state. But these are not things you say at the time. It's not everything you put out in the public. So when in June, on 2nd June, we placed him again on the list of wanted persons, and we went to Interpol in 48 hours. Interpol acceded to our request and put him on the list of wanted persons. This is our history. This is the history of the OSP in respect of this person. And then, that very day, we applied to Interpol for him to be put on the red notice. We also applied to the Chief of Staff at the Presidency that we were triggering the extradition process. This is our history. We did all that in the face of the criticisms, in the face of you are cruel, in the face of you don't know what you're doing, in the face of everything that was thrown at us. We stood our ground. There were several cases he filed in court trying to overturn the arrest warrant. We defended all of them successfully. This is our history. These are our actions since January till now. And then people can turn around to say that we are messing up the case, we are delaying the case. It is
Quickly,
much of a travesty.
Yeah, quickly, what prevents your office from coming out with some facts? Like, can you believe he is resisting? These cases have been filed. Do you sometimes think it's strategic not to mention anything at all? Because in the absence of not mentioning anything at all, the people of Ghana say, nothing is happening.
Mr. Indeed, we have done exactly that. Every step we have taken in this matter, we have informed Ghanaians. Every step. Even when he sues us, we tell Ghanaians. We tell Ghanaians of the outcome of the pursuit. It's there on our website. It's there on our X handle. It's there on our Facebook handle. It's all over. And then sometimes I issue presses. And then sometimes I host journalists at our end at press briefings. We have informed Ghanaians from day one to today. Anyone who says they haven't seen, they haven't heard, is purposeful, willful blindness. You just don't want to see. So, may his soul rest in peace, Lumba. Also, amanphobia omumpa depa. Oma kanta medin sese. Therefore, woman. We have them in the system. Ejuma ye yo tan ejuma. Eyo tan ejuma pa. Ya mase be namfo. Enti se unya abotrema ene de ejuma na mfaso obeba ho. And that's why we're so proud that right after our press conference on Thursday, within 24 hours, the president had come out to cancel the SML contracts. We take exceptional pride in that, and the presidency referred to our investigation as a reason. Exceptional pride in that. And numpo, yes, yeah, some month we are mumpadi by your person,
So, like you're saying, there are all these complaints. I know people have actually the petition that you should leave the office. What is keeping you in there? Do you understand their anger? And if you understand the anger, what are you doing to mitigate that anger? Or if there's nothing to do?
As for petitions for removal, freedom of expression. As for anger, what are you angry about? It has become personal. Indeed, very recently in the past few days, some people are even complaining about my dressing, that I dress too much. My dressing. Kwegu, me afro kwegu.
Pachu from Kweku.
Me better na kunya isui. Ami adum ti na me fra madran sadada. Enye ntumago na ne fra me. I've been a lawyer since 2003. I've been a lecturer at the University of Ghana since 2006. I've had my own law firm since 2014. Enye nne na mesha se enye adwuma yi a me betena aso na me de benya bibi. Actually adwuma yi po ema ohia chimi.
So do crab Ofori.
And I can November 2023 me can me say my ankwanoma the birth of the wayside. Ebinum say ankonam enya ankonam ankwanoma the birth of the wayside. Me say me de crowd ebo Ofori. Me ye de me to me. Me mre so a mekọ na mekọ a na me kai me. I say we wo ho anka obetimi aye de wi. We have made the OSP so attractive and working so effectively. It is a household name now. The sheer amount of prevention we do, which is the bulk of our mandate. Now, when someone is in a public space, even in a private company, doing something, you think, hey, OSP, who and we are. In board meetings across the country, we are mentioned indirectly and directly all the time. Hey, if OSP sees this, we will be in trouble. It is a beautiful legacy. And Kromo den Ghana buy a cry. We are say did not them. Nayen. I must say man am for. If it did at them, and she empower. You asked why I'm still in this. For the sake of my children. For the sake of posterity. My baby and my buy. To me, yet you meet to me. That when I leave, I will know that the country is in a better state than when I met it. So my children will live in a better country than I met it when I was their age. That is what propels me on. As I said, this job rather impoverished me, because my contemporaries will tell you, and I'm not bragging, it's one of the best legal practitioners in the country. It's one of the best lecturers in the University of Ghana. Indeed, I helped establish law schools around the country with my CV. I wasn't doing that bad by Providence's grace. I wasn't doing that bad. So people who do not know me, or people who knew me but shutting their eyes to the fact that Kissi Agyebeng was not.
Think that the general talk out there is this. But Kissi Agyebeng was recommended for that position by Gabi Ochidakun. Gabi Ochidakun, the Bushani is Kufuor. So if Kissi Agyebeng is still there, who would think that he's going to act to get Ken back? See the link?
And it is this same Kissi Agyebeng. See, I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah.
I mean, freedom of expression.
Yeah.
It's unimportant to me, those kind of expressions. See, and it is this same Kissi Agyebeng who puts this same man on the list of wanted persons. And it is this same Kissi Agyebeng who put him on Interpol red notice. And it is this same Kissi Agyebeng who triggered his the process for his extradition.
And as ridiculous as it may sound, how do you react to conspiracy theories? Say, oh, but there's been some arrangement, you know.
So let's analyze this.
I'm listening.
Let's analyze this. Touch wood. I'm not going to come after you. Touch wood. So that is if you haven't done anything that I should come.
So far, so good.
Oh, good.
No
good,
bloody
good.
fears.
I like that. So let's analyze this.
Yeah.
Kweku Sintim Misa
Yes, sir.
has given me money worth my while. So I look away from his dealings. Then one fine day, I stage a press conference and declare the person who has paid me to look away a fugitive from justice, a wanted man. And then another fine day, I go to Interpol and put him on a red notice. And then come a few months, and I be as canning so come a few months to encourage him to give me more. I then go for trigger his extradition. Oh, God of heaven. This is, pardon me, I'm swearing, but that doesn't even make sense. If I am being sponsored or being paid or being bribed by this person, would this be my actions towards the person? That they should give us a little break and a little appreciation that we have a modicum of intellect about us. Because, I mean, if you tell even a kindergarten student, he might scoff at you.
Moving forward, what I'm hearing clearly now is you're doing all that you can, possibly anything that you can. But in effect, you won't stick out your head out or neck out to guarantee that in spite of everything I'm doing, I can bring this man back. That you won't do.
It will be unwise. Because I'm not President Donald Trump of the United States. If I were President Donald Trump, I could tell you that I'll post him to you tomorrow. But my promise to Ghanaians, we will do all we can to bring him in. We will do all we can. We are not relenting. I keep my officers on their toes in respect of all these matters. And that's why I said I doff my hat to them. They've really outdone themselves, and we are still at it. We won't rest on this matter. That is my promise to Ghanaians. My nature, nature is that when I don't believe in something, I don't start it. But once I've started it, when I was in private practice, some unfortunate persons on the other side said I was acting like a Rottweiler. I have strong convictions when I believe in something. That is how I'm made. If I don't believe in it, I won't start it. So many cases that come before us. And I play the devil's advocate with my own officers, especially the prosecutions division. I have a meeting with the prosecutions director, and I say, okay, who are your accused persons in respect of this matter? Excuse me. And he will go, Mr. A. Okay, what has Mr. A done? What is our evidence? Convince me. I have to be convinced 90%. And because I was defense counsel for almost 19 years, I know the tricks from the other side. And this is the blessing God bestowed on me because I have been at both ends for a long time. I will behave like the defense counsel for this person in our briefing. And I'll be asking my director of prosecutions as if I'm doing cross-examination. You say this person has done that, you say this person has done that, you say this person, you say this person, but what is this? What is this? We'll go through each person. At the end of the day, I sit back and I ask my director of prosecutions, are you convinced yourself at a degree of 90% that this person has committed this crime? What he says, I go with. He says, no, SP, after what we've gone through, I think we need a little bit more. I say yes, because if you can't convince, we can't convince ourselves here. The standard is proof beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like 90%. It is not proof up to a hilt, but that will put every reasonable mind at ease that this person committed this thing, and you do not have a lingering doubt in your mind. And so if the other side raises a reasonable doubt, your case collapses. So let's argue it out in the office before we put it out. And so if we are unconvinced at a level of 90%, we won't charge the person. We need much more. And if we can't find that much more, we won't force the evidence. We won't force it. It means there is nothing. You let that person go. That is the nature of our criminal jurisprudence. And that is the way we conduct ourselves. And with that, once again, I reiterate my promise to Ghanaians. If I wasn't convinced in these matters, I wouldn't have started them. I wouldn't go midstream and I say, no. We made a mistake. I have to go back. We can't go on with this matter. It is because in respect of this main case, we had started in December 2023, once again. So by January of 25, when I started coming out, we already had something we're sitting tightly on. And so we are not going to turn around midstream. So I promise to Ghanaians, we are going to do everything we humanly can. And may providence be our guide and strength to be able to bring this to a conclusion. But a date which will return to the country, it will be unwise for me to say, since I'm not the decision maker. Mind you, you can put everything you need to put before the decision maker. If the decision maker says, it's not just legal, it's also diplomatic. It's also political. So it's not just legal. In any case, we are not going to prove the cases against the subject in the United States. That's not where it's going to be tried. It's an extradition process, not a criminal trial. It is a different kettle of fish. You see?
Really?
So you go through all that. And the political authority says we still won't bring the person. And Ghana has a history of someone in recent times. The government pushed. The person was not released to come to Ghana. All I'm saying is that it is also highly political and diplomatic. And you don't know what political leaders are looking for in respect of the interest of their republics and their states. So based on an interest, maybe I will be here. Okay, Fawebra, Nabejiwi. And so a bisu I then I will be sa efimi hono. I come and kona me mfama na ko yetuma me. It is because of that element that no one in my position, no one in the Attorney General's position can say that we will bring this person on this date. You cannot say that.
So moving on, right, even beyond that, this whole issue of the loot, and there has been so much loot in the system, then people need to be prosecuted and the loot recovered. As an OSP, Sorry, as an SP.
There.
What is your position on this whole fight to recover loot? If there are all these intricacies legally that should be considered, is this whole atmosphere and aggressive nature towards the loot misguided? Or we must make a way to make sure that the loot is recovered?
It is not misguided at all. Indeed, it is a right path. It is a right path. The legalities notwithstanding, we must still push on. It is because of our human rights jurisprudence that a person is presumed innocent until proved guilty, and as it should be. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't push on. From where I sit, from where my officers sit, our hearts bleed out daily with what we see. How do you think we felt when we saw that for almost 4 years, the company claimed to have been working without raising invoices on top of which will sit verified reports, but was being paid automatically in excess of 500 million.
Yeah.
How do you think we felt when we saw that? It's heartbreaking. And this recovery of all loot, we give it all 100% effort. And this is where I call for the institutions to work together. Institutions should work together, because if we do not work together, I always say this, how is it that someone goes to, let's say, a Pennsylvania airfield, says, I want to learn how to fly. The person is not interested in learning how to land. It means it's a one-way ticket up. The person has no intention of
coming down.
The person has every intention of doing mischief once in the air. I'm referring to America for Kissi, 9/11. And if the institutions had collaborated, one institution would have picked up that it was odd that these persons were out there in an airfield learning how to fly, but not interested in learning how to land. The OSP must, and we would, always work together with Attorney General. Attorney General in turn should hold our hands. We are working for one republic, one Ghana. National Security, National Signals Bureau, National Intelligence Bureau, the Financial Intelligence Center, Ghana Police Service, Ghana Immigration Service, Ghana Army, and then Recce. All of us, we should work together. If we work together, we will recover a lot. We can recover all, but the Ghanaians should know that. We can't recover all. But the other day, the Attorney General said she had recovered, in respect of a matter, recovered to a certain percentage, and he was okay with it. I don't fault him for that, because we can't recover all. And in respect of the very sad case, the Minerals Income Investment Fund was taken through the preceding 4 years, with some recoveries have started coming through our efforts, and at some point during this year we'll announce them. I mean, it is not wonderful, but it's beautiful that we are seeing these returns, and we should keep at it. We should keep at it, because all these are going into the coffers of the country. We won't go begging for loans and grants if we are able to ring fence money that belongs to the Republic and recover what has been lost. So, Mr. Miza, oral is not misguided. Oral is solidly placed, and we should push it.
Maybe misguided was not the right word, but the expectations that are linked to the possibility of the recovery, are they the right expectations? Because people, the whole thing, somebody was telling me the other time that if they were talking to Muhammad, this is all that they would say: seek ye first the oral, and everything else shall be added onto it.
You see,
so
if it was a banana republic, and we just round people up and line them up by a wall and say, cough up whatever you looted.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we counting 3, we're going to shoot you. then you can have that kind of high expectation.
But why
the
not?
Expectation should be measured. That is what I'm saying. In the context of our constitutional processes and our legal processes, it should be measured. Measured in terms of, and once again, let me refer back to what the Attorney General said last 2 weeks in his press conference. He said these things require patience.
Now, those who are pushing me to go to court and who are saying that by now convictions should have been obtained are being, I know you are Ghanaians, you have legitimate expectations of your government officials, including the president and the Attorney General. But we need to do a good job. Accountability costs resources. Accountability, takes time. And so it is important that Ghanaians are patient so that we have the kind of results that I'm announcing today. Not that I will rush to court. Defense lawyers will come and raise objections, throw my case out, and then the same Ghanaians who wanted me to go to court expeditiously will now turn around and say that Ayine is an incompetent Attorney General. I was never an incompetent lawyer in private practice. I don't want to be an incompetent lawyer in public service. So I want us to take our time to do the kind of work that I'm announcing today.
And I quite agree with him. It requires patience. And so we should manage the expectations and give the investigation and law enforcement agencies time to do this work. You don't do oral overnight. It is painstaking work. This is what I advocate for. The time within which it takes to try these cases should be gracefully shortened for all of us in the system, especially when it comes to interlocutory applications. That is, you raise an objection in respect of one document going into the evidence. That objection is overruled, and then you go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the case has to be stayed. The trial has to be stayed sometimes to go through all this. So we should take a look at that. And we should empower our law enforcement agencies more.
Yeah. So is it possible, for example, for a law or whatever to come up and say, within 6 months, this should be done? Because as it is now, that's all Ghanaians want to know, that at least, within a certain reasonable time frame, loot must be recovered, people must be prosecuted. But if it's sort of open because the law, intellectual, all these things are there. Then
let me put it this way. Let me take you back to, I'll answer your question, but let me take you back to, it's my nature. Let me take you back to the 2012 election petition. Remember what the Supreme Court said? You're going to sit today, every day. And at some point they say, we're going to sit Tuesday to Thursday. We're going to come out with this in a few months, but it took us 9 months or so. But with the will, we can do that. We can say that, look, this is the way such trials should go. Such trials should go expeditiously, and we make criminal procedural rules in respect of that, and say within this time.
Yeah.
No, the Nensem Ebetuja Magana for me, said. We should go that way. I have been defense counsel before, and I have been guilty of stretching criminal cases. Because I worked the system within the bounds of the law. I could then wear you out for you to retire. Because I was working within the bounds of the law. It is such processes that need to be. The sieve of those processes should be bordered at the base.
So my final question.
Right.
Who has to come together to make this thing actually work? That, okay, now we are giving ourselves 6 months to open and close cases. Who has to do that? Is it the
6 months is your own time frame, right?
That's my own time frame.
So I won't put the time on it, but within the shortest possible time. All of us.
Okay.
All of us indeed. And the constitution review process that's going on is highly commendable. We should rethink all these things and how to. You see, when we put in these processes, it also has that effect of preventing corruption in the sense that it makes it a very costly enterprise to engage in. When you know that the trial will be so summary, the trial will be so expeditious, it will discourage you from engaging in such conduct. And that you won't have the liberty of a defense counsel, as I used to be like that, to work the system to delay and wear out prosecutors to retirement.
Okay.
All of us, we need to come together.
Okay. Mr. Kissi Agyebeng, yeah, that's it. Put your hands together, man. Well, folks, you've heard it all, and the rest is up to you, man. He stated his case, and all the questions that I had in terms of everything, I put it out there. He's answered them all, and we are now watching. He says he won't give us a time frame because that will not be a wise thing to do, because there are certain things that are beyond his power. Mr. Kissi, as we wrap up, let me give you just 30 seconds to make your final. Where's your camera? Your camera is right here.
What do I
to
say?
The people of Ghana, in terms of whatever you want to tell us regarding Mr. Ofori specifically.
As I said, we started this whole thing in January of this year. We placed him on our list of wanted persons. We declared him wanted and a fugitive from justice. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a few minutes ago, I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori. Because of what we have by way of evidence that we believe he has done. We went to Interpol and placed him on the Interpol red notice as a communication to every country in the world to apprehend him if they find him for us. In June, we triggered the extradition process for his being brought from the United States here. It requires time, it requires painstaking work, it requires patience, but our promise at the Office of the Special Prosecutor and stand on every officer's behalf at the OSP to say that we are not asleep on this matter. We will do everything that is legally doable to enforce his return back to this country to face trial. And I say to face trial because on Thursday last, when I addressed the nation in respect of the SML investigation, I announced that before the end of November, we would file charges in the criminal court in respect of the SML matter. And I tabled out names that were going to be accused persons. And this is going to be so whether Mr. Ofori will be in the country by the end of November or not. We will go ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Annie. I have to let you know that at Cactus Creek, we have a special Sunday buffet. Sunday biao. And I'm hoping you can join us one of these Sundays. Local. Open local and upper continental. Hey, up and Kwani.
Up and Kwani. And also not come people. My bad. Me ba me nam kwan so nyina me ba me say akoe be bi shey dey ho anika matidi na me ma hada
anika pa so
me ba so me nya me kwan na me ba so squad.
What is squad?
Squad.
So folks, see you here next Sunday, and the local buffet will be sizzling. From now on, just know that every Sunday there's a buffet at Cactus Creek, and I'm talking about a really solid buffet of local Ghanaian delectables. Every Sunday we are there. So whether I announce or not, know that you can put in your calendar Sunday, we're going to Cactus Creek. This Sunday I'm featuring one of the greatest young musicians. There's a live band. I'm holding it till you get there. And please make sure that you join us at Cactus Creek this Sunday for a great buffet. He had promised he will come, but I don't believe him more. Whether he comes or not, I'll be seeing you Sunday. Until next week, we'll be back again with another episode of Unfiltered.